For decades, the Pentagon has been bleeding taxpayer money, trillions of dollars vanishing into black budgets, untraceable contracts, and financial chaos so deep, even auditors can't find the bottom. Year after year, the Department of Defense has failed audit after audit, shrugging it off like it's just another day at the office. But now, the United States Marine Corps just did something no one expected. They passed their audit, twice, and in doing so, they just pulled the curtain back on a shocking truth. If they can track every dollar, what's stopping the rest of the military? And more importantly, what are they hiding? Because let's be very clear, this changes everything. Let's talk about a cold, hard fact that should infuriate every taxpayer. The Department of Defense has never passed a full audit. Not once. Ever. And we're not talking about some tiny accounting error. We're talking about $3.8 trillion in assets, $4 trillion in liabilities, and absolutely no ability to track where all that money is going. Year after year, government auditors dig into the Pentagon's books, only to emerge frustrated, confused, and unable to account for billions of dollars. $2.3 trillion missing in 2001, announced by Donald Rumsfeld on September 10th. $35 trillion in unsupported transactions from 2019 to 2022. Over $220 billion in military equipment that simply vanished from inventory. And every time someone asks where the money went, the response is always the same. We don't know. Think about that. The most powerful military on the planet, with the most advanced tracking, surveillance, and AI technology known to man, can't find where its own money went? Either they are incompetent, or they are lying. And the Marine Corps just proved it. Now let's get one thing straight. The Marine Corps, they're not exactly rolling in money compared to the rest of the military. The Marines have the smallest budget of any branch, a fraction of what the Army, Navy, or Air Force get. They don't have the Navy's global fleet, the Air Force's space-age technology, or the Army's massive logistical empire. And yet, when the auditors came knocking, the Marine Corps had their books in order. No lost transactions, no untraceable assets, no mysterious black hole swallowing up taxpayer dollars. Just accountability. So now the big question is, if the Marines can do it, why can't the rest of the Pentagon? And the answer? Because they don't want to. The financial corruption runs deep. Let's break this down. Why does the Army fail every audit? Because it can't even track its own inventory. Thousands of tanks, Humvees, and rifles? Missing. Overpayments to defense contractors? Routine. Hundreds of millions in improper payments? Happens every year. What about the Navy? Ships that cost double their original budget. A bloated, inefficient fleet that keeps getting cut while spending skyrockets. Billions spent on maintenance that never gets done. And the Air Force? Trillion-dollar aircraft programs that still don't work properly. Overruns on stealth technology, fighter jets, and satellites. Unaccounted funds and classified black projects that disappear into the void. Yet, through all this financial madness, the Pentagon keeps asking for more money. And Congress, they keep writing blank checks. Because, let's be real, when there's no accountability, there's no limit to how much money gets wasted, mismanaged, or stolen. And now that the Marine Corps has proven accountability is possible, the entire military establishment is panicking. What this audit really means. Now that the Marines have shattered the illusion that military audits are too complicated to pass, we're about to see a massive shift. Because Congress is watching, because taxpayers are watching, because the excuse of we don't know where the money went no longer works. So what happens next? Congress will demand answers. The Army, Navy, and Air Force will now be under immense pressure to clean up their books. Public pressure will increase. Taxpayers will start demanding that military spending be justified. No more blank checks. The Pentagon will scramble to cover its tracks. Expect a flood of classified projects to suddenly appear, hiding even more spending. The media will downplay the importance of this audit. Watch as mainstream outlets ignore the significance of what just happened. And here's the most important part. The next military budget negotiations are coming. And this time, there's a real possibility that funding will be restructured. Imagine the outrage if branches that can't even track their own money keep getting billions. while the one branch that proved accountability gets nothing. But here's the real question. Will the Pentagon actually be forced to change? Or will they do what they've always done? Distract, delay, and keep the money flowing unchecked? Because let's be honest, the military-industrial complex doesn't want accountability. It wants massive defense contracts with no oversight. It wants trillions in unchecked spending to fuel endless wars. It wants politicians too scared to demand transparency. But now, the Marines have changed the game. They've shown the American people that military accountability is possible. And if one branch can do it, the others have no excuse. The Pentagon's worst nightmare has begun. The United States Marine Corps just proved that the biggest lie in Washington, that military spending is too complicated to track, was never true to begin with. They've embarrassed the rest of the military. They've humiliated the Pentagon. And they've blown open the reality that trillions of dollars are being wasted, hidden, or outright stolen. And now, the cover-up is collapsing. So, what do you think? Should Congress demand full accountability for all military branches? Why does the Pentagon keep failing audits while demanding more money? And most importantly, is this proof that corruption runs deeper than we ever imagined? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because one thing is clear: this is just the beginning.